Kia ora everyone, welcome to the second event for the Korea TechWeek Series. My name is Nicole Upchurch and I'm Chief Marketing Officer at a blockchain startup called Centrality. I'm also a board member for NZTech and I chair the Korean Tech Working Group. I've been a passionate ambassador for New Zealand tech and innovation for nearly 20 years. As chairperson of the Korean Tech Working Group, I've seen firsthand the appetite from Korea to work with Kiwi businesses, and I'm thrilled to be a part of this special virtual Tech Week event. Today you will hear from a great group of speakers from the Korean startup ecosystem and some local tech companies who will share their journey to success in the Korean market. Use this time to learn about Korean business market and gain some perspective on what it would take to grow your business in this prosperous region. There is certainly demand from our innovative thinking and unique approach to tech in Korea if you're willing to take the step. If you're feeling inspired at the end of this event and want to follow up on this opportunity, we have a range of organisations who can support you. The Kiwi Chamber in Korea ran a successful roadshow last year and is looking for its next delegation. The New Zealand Embassy in Seoul and New Zealand Trade and Enterprise can all put you in touch with the speakers that were here today or with Korean businesses in your industry. I hope that you get something out of this event, and remember, if you want to take that next step, there are people here that can support you.
Hi, I'm Jordan. I'm the CEO and co-founder of NR2. We built a company which is a search engine to find innovative startups. We started out as a search engine who is helping investors around the world to find innovative companies in China. And as we were building our search engine, we realized that South Korea was extremely innovative, and we met people from the K Startup Grand Challenge as we were in Europe, and we decided to move to South Korea to go through a program called K Startup Grand Challenge, which is helping foreign startups to try and create businesses in Korea. The number of startups and innovative companies being created in South Korea is much more than what we think. It's a very vibrant ecosystem and very, very few people are aware of it. Most people know LG, Hyundai, and Samsung, all these big companies, but very few know actually the 20,000 to 80,000 startups that are being created here and creating actually very, very innovative products. So we realized all of that through the K Startup Grand Challenge. It was for us really a shortcut into the Korean market. It was a way to really settle down and focus on trying to understand what was happening. I arrived here in August of last year. So it's been about a year now, almost a year that I'm here. And it takes a lot of time to understand what's happening, but the opportunities are really real, and people are extremely excited about our products and what's happening and how they can actually find startups even within Korea. Now, something that's very important to understand with the South Korean ecosystem right now is it's trying to go global. So that means that there's a lot of energy into trying to create global companies, which means that people here are not only trying to create companies to stay within their local ecosystem, they're trying to create companies to attack their local ecosystem and use it as a way to conquer the world. And I think that that's a very, very good thing for any foreign startups, because it means that you can target the South Korean ecosystem, you can target customers here, you can work with them and build your product. And they're very difficult, which means that if you succeed here in Korea, then it's a good proof that your product or concept is going to be successful potentially. And because it's trying to go global, it means you're not going to get stuck in South Korea, and means it's going to be a very good way for you to grow outside of South Korea. I can go to China very easily once travel is available. I can go to Japan very easily, and also the relationships between South Korea and Southeast Asia are very, very good. So many entrepreneurs are actually expanding their company there, which means that through the networking that you make here, the people that you meet, you will be able to actually access more than South Korea and actually see Southeast Asia as an opportunity from here. I think that for you to come and visit South Korea and try to really see what's happening here, it's a way to actually access an ecosystem which is different. It's going to be something that's going to challenge you, but challenge you in a way which is going to make, I think, whatever you're doing better, because you're going to be able to access people here and see what's happening firsthand. The great thing about people here is they're really engaged with products. So if you have interesting products, tech companies, and you want to do things, the beauty of South Korea, which I really like, because we are a tech company, is that people are really into technology here. They welcome any kind of technology and they want to try it. And if they like it, they will really engage with it quite intensely, which means that very soon you'll have a growing market opening for you.
Hello, my Kiwi friends. My name is Solomon. I'm part of the board of the French Tech Seoul. What is the French Tech? French Tech is a nickname for a spirit of entrepreneurship and innovation from France, launched in 2013 by the backing of the French government. It became now a fully fledged community, combining local communities in France and international communities across the globe. And in Seoul, we launched the French Tech last year in 2019, building up on the network of French and local Korean startups and ecosystem innovation. For us, it's key for any country in the innovation and tech world to be able to foster these strong connections between every company. Because today in this world, and tech companies, internet, e-commerce, health tech, it can be also a SaaS system tech. Whatever tech system you are, you cannot be only focused on your own country. And so to become global is one of the key elements of success for the technological companies of today. Innovation knows no borders, so it's really key to be able to foster connections and trusted partnerships between every country. I'm really glad to be here and represent the French Tech at the New Zealand Embassy today, because we are all in Korea for, I think, one of the key reasons. We might have different reasons, but one of the key reasons here is to be able to create stronger links between the Korea ecosystem and our local countries. So it can be for France, for myself, New Zealand for you. And I believe that in doing this, we really need to work on cross-cultural, cross-partnership. So between France, Korea, New Zealand, this is the way of making, I believe, a more connected and stronger world, and especially true for the tech parts. Our community in Seoul is comprises of around 30 companies, so corporates, French and Koreans. We have close to 500 followers and over 150 members, which are fully participating in this community, which speaking English is no problem, and for us, we do not believe that there will be any language barrier, and this is why we have decided to work and exchange and interact in English, which is for now the international language. One of the key points of this community is really to foster the exchange and idea generation between Korean ecosystems, the French ecosystems, but also all the other ecosystems which are trying to develop these links in the innovation, which is one of the main points we strive to develop. A few words on the South Korean technological and innovation ecosystem. It's been a few years that the South Korean governments, but also private initiatives, have really tried to support the Korean ecosystem. And what we've been seeing now is really quite incredible. There is a huge amount of new startups and very ingenious and innovative startups coming to the market in South Korea. This is why for the French Tech, South Korea is a key hub in terms of innovation in our international network, but also on my behalf, working for a French venture capital firm, South Korea is showing some very interesting trends and signs of a very mature startup and innovative markets. And I believe that South Koreans, New Zealand and French companies have a lot to learn of each other by working and creating these strong partnerships together. Again, thank you so much for inviting me here for this special day. And I really want to, again, extend a very warm welcome and invitation to all our Kiwi friends to join the French Tech, and hopefully we'll be able to create more and more partnerships with New Zealand and France in working within the Korean ecosystem.
Hi, my name is Lin Huang, and I'm co-founder and CEO of Tamago. I'm a Korean American that's been doing business with Korea for the last 13 years. I've been living here for 5.5 years. Basically, Tamago is a mobile app. We help to reduce food waste. I had a personal interest because I saw so much waste of perfectly good food throughout my 13 years in the food industry. Lots of food that shouldn't be going to waste. I was part of that. I didn't want to waste the food, but I had no other choice. And there's lots of companies and restaurants and bakeries that are doing this. So basically, restaurants, bakeries, and grocery stores, at the end of the day, they have food that they did not sell. It went unsold. It's perfectly good food, and typically it goes to waste in the garbage bin because they can't sell it. So what we do is we partner with these stores, and instead of them throwing away this food, they'll upload it to our app, and it's half price, and anybody can purchase it and prevent it from going to waste. This is just the beginning of what we're trying to do. We'll be adding on new features to reduce food waste across the entire food industry. We started here in Korea last year, and we're just launching in Indonesia next week. We had a project for the coronavirus in Indonesia. We had citizens upload food as a donation. We would go pick it up and we would redistribute it to the healthcare workers fighting COVID on the front lines. We were able to feed literally thousands. We did that for about a month and a half, and then we're adding a new feature working with the city of Yogyakarta, which is where our office is based. And what we're going to do is encourage citizens to share any extra resources, such as hand sanitizers, masks, and gloves, and also extra food with their neighbors. So people that don't have enough, they can easily and efficiently be able to share this. And we're going to have this as a permanent feature, even post-COVID, because this is something that citizens can use and help each other with. So I've been in the startup scene for about 3.5, 4 years here in Korea. It's different from where I'm from in the States. The Korean culture, business culture is very different. One thing is the networking is not there yet, although it's growing. Where I'm from in the States, there's a lot of networking events and a lot of networking people meet each other. Here it's not as big, but it's growing. And another thing is if you do have something really good as a startup and people start taking on to it, it can catch on and grow like wildfire really quickly. On the other side, it's also people, if you do have something good, people can tend to copy it and try to replicate your success. The startup community here has really grown over the last 3 years. 3 years ago, people did not know what a startup was here in Korea. It was a word that was not familiar. Now, 3 years later, everyone knows what a startup is. Everyone's trying to do it. There is so much support from private sector and public sector. There's a lot of government grants. There are a lot of the big companies and medium-sized companies that are getting into startups. They have venture arms. They have creative accelerators. And it's not just for native Koreans, it's also for foreigners and English speakers. There's a huge community of English speakers and foreigners in the startup world here, and there's also a lot of support. And this support also comes from Seoul City and Korea, the Korean government. There's support just for foreigners, for startups. And there's a lot of events for foreigners as well, a lot of events where just for startups, and the support's there, the ecosystem's there, there's tons of mentors, there's tons of access to find partners and co-founders. So I think it's a really good time for New Zealanders to either come in and do business or collaborate or do startups here. And another reason being is because now the Korean government and startups are looking overseas as well to expand and do partnerships. So it's a really good time, and the opportunities are really endless.
Hi, my name is Martha, and I'm originally from Poland, having lived in Korea for the past decade and some more. I have been involved in the Korean startup scene for the past few years, mostly focusing on community and ecosystem building. I am the founder of Seoul Startups, the biggest international startup community here in Korea. And I am here to tell you a little bit about what we do for international startups wanting to come and penetrate the Korean market. So what is Seoul Startups? Well, Seoul Startups actually started as a startup, although it's more of a community now. And that is in a bar on a napkin 3 years ago, when a bunch of both foreign and Korean startup industry workers were gathered over a few beers, complaining about the lack of global social network, lack of global events, lack of diversity and inclusivity. Fast forward 3 years, we have over 1,300 members. We are very invested in working with partners, both government, corporate, and NGO, in creating various programs for entrepreneurs, both here in Korea, but also abroad who want to discover the Korean startup scene. So Seoul Startups is driven by 3 important values. First, being give first. We focus on giving to the community and making sure that our members are co-creators of value for other founders. Second is perseverance. There's a very famous saying in Korean that 실패가 결과가 아니라 과정이다. So failure is not the end result, it's a process. And we believe that through failing, through making mistakes, we all grow better as entrepreneurs. And last but not least is just having fun. We believe that the most important thing about being a startup, being an entrepreneur, is that if the work doesn't give a smile on your face, then it's not worth doing at all. We are offering a series of online webinars and panel discussions with industry experts, founders, to give insight into what it is to be doing business here in Korea, but also what are the current trends and things that in technology that you should be focusing on if you want to succeed. Obviously, when we don't have COVID, we hold very interactive offline networking events and hackathons to build networks, build the community, but also spread the word and education about entrepreneurship. Another project that we're working on is called Startup Guide, which is a lonely planet for entrepreneurs who are interested in discovering the Seoul startup scene. We are partnering with all sorts of government and non-government partners to create a really interesting and fun guidebook about what is there to know about startups here in Korea. The biggest value we can offer is the advice, the experiences that our founders can give, and we want to share it with the world. Doing business in Korea is not an easy thing. There's a lot of barriers you have to go through, both administrative, language, cultural. But I believe that in the last few years, we have taken some great steps into creating a really global platform here. I'm sure you're going to have lots of fun here. If you are looking to connect with a network of diverse entrepreneurs from all over the world, all passionate about Korea, come to seoulstartups.com and we will welcome you as our own. So see you soon.
It's a pleasure to talk to my fellow entrepreneurs and founders in New Zealand. My name is Eunse Lee and I'm the Managing Director of Techstars Korea. Techstars is a global platform for investment and innovation. We invest in companies that we fall in love with and then we connect the companies with the corporations around the world. We invite companies from all over the world and we make investment in all over the world. Techstars Korea is Techstars' first program for Korea, and we will invite 10 companies from all over the world to Korea, and we want to arm them with the values only Korea can provide. For Techstars, Korea has been a very special place. We have focused on the talents that comes out of Korea. Also, we have been looking at the corporations and the government supports for startups. Techstars has been also investing in Korean companies, so we understand great companies comes out of Korea. Korea has great pool of talent, so I think you should also take a look at Korean ecosystem and try to be a part of that. For Korean market, I think you guys need to take a look at the talent quality from Korea. We produce great talents, and also they're extremely hardworking. And also we have the Korean government that is really supportive for foreign companies to come to and work out of Korea. So, obviously it's going to be a really good help for you guys that come to Korea. We have a company called TPS Engage. They went through our program in Dubai, and then they came to Korea. They used to work with Samsung and LG and many Korean clients in Europe, and that helped them to decide to come to Korea, and now they're making also great progresses in Korea. And I believe that the case can apply to you. So if you're interested, you guys shouldn't wait. You guys shouldn't hesitate. Just come to Korea and take a look at what the country has for you guys. The New Zealand government and also Korean government have been working together to really introduce Korean ecosystem to many of you fantastic New Zealand companies. So if you ever come across with this opportunity, please grab that. I really hope to see you guys soon in Korea, and hopefully we can work together. Thank you.
Hello everyone watching from New Zealand. And thank you for your interest in Korean government supporting program for startups and K-Startup Grand Challenge program. I'm Jong-hyun, manager of National IT Industry Promotion Agency of Korea. So I'm going to introduce what is KSGC. KSGC is an inbound startup supporting program of Korea, hosted by the Ministry of SMEs and Startups and organized by NIPA. So let me briefly give introduction of two organizations and move to the program. First, the Ministry of SMEs and Startups is a government organization whose objective to strengthen competitiveness and support innovation of small and medium-sized enterprise and micro-enterprise. MSS mission is to develop and implement government policies over the three areas. First, promoting business growth, and second is fostering business startups. Third is supporting microenterprise. Next, about the NIPA, my company. NIPA is a governmental agency responsible for promoting the development of the science and ICT for the next era. Our mission is ICT industry enhancement and creation of the future industry in Korea and promoting international ICT cooperation. We also have 6 overseas offices in Singapore and Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh in Vietnam and Silicon Valley and Berlin and Bangalore in India. Those offices help Korean companies to penetrate the local market and vice versa. And I'm pretty sure that some of you are curious about K-Startup Grand Challenge. K-Startup Grand Challenge is a global acceleration program to provide excellent overseas startups with the support and opportunity for investment that they need to launch their business in Asia and make the Korea as Asia's #1 startup business hub. We provide the participant with fund, free office space, one-on-one mentorship, and so on. For startups that are less than 7 years old or pre-entrepreneur whose representative hold a foreign nationality, not Korean. Also, with a clear object to expand into Asia by using the Korean market as a stepping stone can apply. Target sectors are various from AI, blockchain to media, but any startups with brilliant idea and welcome to apply for our program. This year, 2,648 teams from 118 countries have applied for the KSGC 2020. This year marks the 5th year of KSGC, and a total of 60 teams will be selected to participate in the KSGC Acceleration Program at the startup campus located in Pengyo for 3 months. We will provide various advantages to the top 60 teams over 3.5 months, such as office space, business meeting and networking event with Korean major companies, and project space, and settlement fund, and prize and grant, etc. They also have a financial benefit of the KSGC 2020. If you get selected as top 60, you will be rewarded around 10,000 to 15,000 US dollar. If you pass the final demo day as a top 5, you would receive prize money from 10,000 to 120,000 US dollar. If you pass the final demo day but not top 5, you are still eligible for funding around 10,000 to 15,000 US dollar. Unfortunately, this year application already closed. Please give a lot of attention to next year's program. More information at www.k-startupgc.org. Thank you.